So let's go to example 4. Describe how, so here the key word is describe, how the graph of y equals 1 over x squared could have been translated to create each of the graphs below. What are the equations of the asymptotes on each image graph? So the first thing I'm going to do this one, I'm just going to label these asymptotes a little bit more clearly. X equals 0 and y equals 0 on there. Do you remember that graph from grade 11? Your teacher might have called it like a volcano graph or something, because it's the one that the asymptote lava comes out of the top, or whatever you wanted to say. And so for part A, again, I like to have the y by itself, so then I can look at my equation. Is there anything inside the function? Is there anything outside of the function? The only number we have is that plus 3, okay? And so that's going to translate it 3 units up. Now, when a question in grade 12 has describe or explain, and they actually give you a paper on your exam that explains what describe means, okay, and describes what explain means. So on your exam, if you have the word describe or explain, you have to use words. If you try to use math to explain numbers and just equations and stuff, we're told when we mark your provincial exam, we have to cover all the math that you wrote with our hand, all the graphs that you drew with our hand, and just read your words. And if your words don't make sense without seeing the math as well, we have to deduct you for clarity. So you have to be able to explain things in words and sort of like in words only. Okay? Now that being said, you've got a little bit of leeway. Like in this one, this is really easy to describe in words. What does that 3 do? It moves it 3 units up. If we want to use a proper word, translated, the graph is translated, okay? And this would be okay. They're not going to cover that 3. You don't have to write out 3 in words, okay? So this would be fine. But any kind of equation stuff, and there's some explain questions that it might be tempting to do equations to explain it, you have to explain it in words. So the graph is translated 3 units up. We are also reading the question again. What are the equations of the asymptotes? So I imagine if I shift this 3 units up, can you see that the x equals 0 one stays the same? And vertical stuff only affects the y, so does it make sense what this gets shifted 3 up that our horizontal asymptote becomes y equals 3. Same thing for part B. I'm going to start by rearranging this equation. Write out in words. The graph is translated. Now, looking at the equation, we've got a plus 3. Can you see that that's inside the function? So that's going to be 3 units to the left and a minus 4 outside the function. Four units down. Now with our equations of our asymptotes, 3 units to the left, can you see that your x equals 0, 1 will become x equals minus 3. And if you shifted things 4 units down, your y equals 0 will become y equals negative 4. You're going to find if you have graphs with asymptotes, usually when you go to graph it, the asymptotes will be one of the first things you'd want to draw, because they really sort of set the stage for the rest of your graph. All right, that one was straightforward. We're going to do questions 16 and 17, and we're done our first lesson.